Hi there, Tin from K-On here, and today we're installing side molle panels on the Suzuki Jimny. So these molle panels, they're great for extra storage, putting pouches and so forth on. They're compatible with our standalone rear roof shelf. Now we've got two options on mounting these, one that's more permanent using Nutserts, or if you don't like drilling holes in your vehicle, we have an option for automotive grade mounting tape, which is quite sturdy and more than functional. So let's get started and get this in. The way these panels mount is we mount to the three mounting points in the vehicle on the bottom, and we have a bracket on the top which has the mounting tape, or you can mount through with Nutserts and bolts. Now this sits up the top here. The way we position this, and the easiest way to do it, is to actually attach it to the molle panel and then position it in place and just stick it in place and then undo everything. So we're going to go ahead and mount the upper bracket to the molle panel. Now we've got M6 washers and bolts. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually push that all the way down on the slots, so I can make sure that everything's nice and parallel and aligned. So we'll tighten that up a little bit. So even though these panels look similar, they're actually handed. So you want to make sure the K is towards the back for the right hand one and the left hand one as well. So just make sure the K is towards the back. Now we've got the top bracket mounted in place, grab a couple of M6 bolts so that we can attach it to the bottom. But before we do that, we want to remove the backing tape on the top. Makes it a lot easier if you can remove it now. Makes it a lot easier if you've got some nails. So this is 3M automotive tape, and it's rated for use in the temperatures you would expect in the vehicle. Okay, the tape's come off. Now, we just want to mount two bolts in the bottom there so we can get the position of that top bracket right. There it is. Okay, so we're on the bottom of the slots there, so it's not going to quite attach up just yet. So we want to push that up against there and just push it hard up against the frame, and then we want to lift it up. And that should stick up there. If you can get your finger up there and just sort of push a little bit, you'll find that that's stuck there now. And what we'll do, we'll remove all the bolts. We'll remove all the bolts, and we'll just make sure that that's mounted up securely. So at this point, if you're just going to go with the 3M automotive tape, what you want to do is you want to make sure that tape is up against that and set properly. Now you can sort of see that that's quite secure already. From there, you just put the molle panels back on and bolt everything back in place. If you are going to go for the Nutserts, what we're going to do now is we're going to drill the holes with this bracket stuck in place, remove the bracket, remove the tape, and bolt everything up. Now, to attach this bracket to the frame with Nutserts, we're going to use an M6 Nutsert, which needs a 9.5mm hole. But what I like to do first is use a 3mm drill bit just to pilot it. It's going to make it a lot easier. Now we've checked that there's no airbags behind this metal frame here. That's actually the frame of the vehicle. The airbags sit up in here, so you don't have to worry about punching a hole in your airbags. So, now, just need to get the right angle, and you want to position that drill bit right in the middle of that slot. Carefully drill the hole. This is the bit where the car starts screaming. Ow! No, it's all good. Okay, so we've got our pilot holes. Now to remove it, this tape. Oh, there you go. We got it off. We've got our 2 pilot holes. I want to remove the tape off the back of this because we won't need it anymore. Once we bolt it all up, it's fairly easy to get off. But what we'll do now is we'll go get a 9.5mm drill bit and enlarge those holes. 9.5mm drill bit for a M6 Nutsert. Now you carefully want to open up these holes. Open up this hole carefully, just be careful it doesn't grab, it's fairly thin. Beautiful. After you finish drilling the holes, you want to paint the exposed metal. Now I've got some silver gal coat, zinc rich silver paint. Just grab a little cotton bud and we'll just neatly paint those holes. Stop it from rusting. At this point, if you've got a Nutsert gun, pull that Nutsert gun out. Otherwise, we've supplied you with some bolts and nuts and so forth to be able to set the Nutsert. Now the way we do that is we've got an M8 nut, got serrations on the back, which will stop the Nutsert from turning when we try to pull it up with the bolt. Got an M6 bolt, place the M6 bolt through the top in that fashion, and then wind the Nutsert onto the back like so. Now that's what it needs to look like. And what I like to do before I try to set the Nutsert in the hole is I actually like to start setting it outside. So get a 13mm ring spanner, put it over the nut. I like using a ring spanner because it helps hold everything square. And with your Allen key, just start turning on that. And you can see this is not turning, but it's actually pulling the Nutsert and starting to set that. And you can see there's a little bulge there, which is what you want. That means it's starting to collapse and it won't rotate. Now we're ready to put that up in the hole. It's got a little bit of a bulge there, but it should be okay because we drilled at 9.5. Now make sure you hold it nice and square with that ring spanner and just start tightening it. Now, go slowly because you'll feel it, and you'll feel it as it sort of clamps onto that sheet metal. And what you want to do is you want to keep on tightening until it feels like it's set all the way. Okay, I can feel it starting to tighten up now. There it is, that's it, that's nice, set nicely. Now I just want to back everything out now. And what you'd have is a Nutsert set up in the roof there. Just setting myself up to do the next hole, and I've pre-set this Nutsert, but I thought I'll show you what the Nutsert's eventually going to look like. So when we tighten that up in the roof there, it's going to crush down and clamp itself in between that flange there and those serrations there, and that's what holds the Nutsert in place. We're ready now to install the Molle panels. First thing to go up is the upper bracket, but make sure you have all your bolts ready. So 2 bolts to bolt the upper bracket in, 2 to mount to the Molles in the front, 3 bolts, M6 bolts and washers down the bottom, but these also need little M8 washers out the back to space them off the recesses. So we'll get this bracket up first. M6 bolts and washers. Now if you've opted for the no drill option, this will already be in place. Okay. I remember the position of this bracket, the edge was just on the radius here. But we can adjust that later, but I'm just going to tighten that now because it's going to be easier to tighten now. Okay. Beautiful. Get the 2 bolts at the top. we'll hang it up the top here. So I'll just leave that loose. This could be a little bit tricky here, but we want to get a washer in behind there. And then attach it. It's a bit tricky. Can be done. Last one. Okay. Just got to lift it up a little, get that gap nice and even. That looks really lovely. And we'll tighten everything up. Okay, there it is. Super solid, these. You'll notice there's a bit of a gap on the front here. That's to allow for the factory cargo barrier. But other than that, you've got the other side to do now. So just a reminder, K is towards the back, important for when you're setting up to position the topper bracket. So K towards the back. Okay, we're done now. Side Molle panels for the Jimny are in. Super solid. The other thing to note with these is we've put them behind the airbag, so the airbag can still deploy out this way. So you can mount your quick fists, your pouches, etc., etc. Also compatible with our standalone rear roof shelf. So that's the Side Molle panels for the Jimny.